Dr. Z, you're an entrepreneur, right?
Absolutely.
Josh, you're an entrepreneur, right?
Yes, sir.
I got to ask you guys, if somebody said to you, Dr. Z, hey, if I put in exactly $57,000 into buying a Dr. Robert Zellner optometry clinic,
Okay.
when will I make my money back? What would you say to him?
Soon and very soon.
Josh, if you said, hey, I'm going to put $57,000 into a living water irrigation, when would I make my money back?
How hard do you want to work?
This is interesting because a lot of people ask, OxyFresh, hey, they call them and say, hey, I want to buy a franchise, but when will I make my money back? What's my return on investment? And on today's show, Matt Klein, the franchise brand developer with OxyFresh, shares with you realistic expectations about when you can expect to make some compensation when you buy an OxyFresh franchise anywhere across this great nation. So you see that I rhymed 3 times.
That's impressive.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrivetime Show.
3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, 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 and yes. Thrive Nation, on today's show, we have an incredible guest by the name of Mr. Matt Klein, who is the brand developer for OxyFresh carpet cleaning systems and franchising. Should you be interested in buying a franchise, and specifically an OxyFresh franchise, and you pick up the phone or you go to the website oxyfresh.com, you fill out the form because you want to escape from the norm of businesses that fail, and you want to purchase a business that does well, at least historically, then the guy who's going to respond to you is either M or M. You got Mike or Matt. And on today's show, we've got Plan B. We couldn't get Mike. We've got Plan B. Matt Klein, welcome onto the show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
We want to know. I mean, how excited are you to be Plan B?
Well, it's better than Plan A, I guess, depending on who you are.
Well, Mike, I mean, it's always our Plan A, and I appreciate it. I'm always our Plan B. You're Plan B guest, and I'm the Plan B host, so the whole thing works out great. The B team here.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for Plan Bs in the world, so we're here.
Okay, now I want to ask you this on behalf of Team B. There's a lot of people out there that aren't Elon Musk. Wow. Mm-hmm. A lot of people that aren't Elon Musk. Josh, I don't know if you're aware of this, but a lot of people aren't like Steve Jobs level where they're like genius next level.
There's not a lot of those folks.
Then there's not a lot of people that, are Einsteins.
Not a lot of those folks.
Maybe there's more people that work at Einstein's Bagels than Einstein's. But there's not a whole lot of people that are Richard Branson level, not a whole lot of Bill Gates, not a whole lot of... And as a dude, sometimes you look up and you go, why am I not Bill Gates or Steve? Because it can be easy to kind of go, what am I going to do? How am I going to provide for my family? I'm good at some things, but how am I going to make my mark on the planet? How am I going to achieve time freedom? And I think that's a great place where franchises show up as a good option. Wouldn't you agree, Matt? I mean, if you're somebody who's a diligent person, but you can't do 360 dunks on the NBA court, or you're not a super skilled musician, or you're not a genius, isn't a franchise a great way to minimize your risk?
Certainly, yeah. Give you an opportunity for some, income potential that you may not have in a normal job. Give yourself some time freedom. Give yourself the ability to become an owner of a business, separate employee, without all the risk of going out on your own and having some support there with an already proven model. Certainly a less risky option for owning a business, certainly with the franchise world. In the franchising world, I think the statistics show consistently, no matter what studies you look at, that 9 out of 10 small businesses by default fail, but in franchising, only 1 out of 10 fail. I mean, it's like a reverse of the average. I mean, so they're much more of a safe investment, although no investment is guaranteed. And now Josh will begin to interrogate Matt about this idea of buying an OxyFresh or buying any franchise. The question I'm sure you get asked probably every day, it's when will I make my money back? Do you ever get that question asked to you, Matt? Do people ever say, hey, buddy, that's great, but when am I going to make my money back? Yeah, I get that question a lot. Return on investment's a big question. So those are all very valid questions that are asked to me. I always tell people the situations in which you're in and how you run your business will also dictate that. But we can actually get down to some pretty easy kind of answers to some of these questions because we do know what our average job ticket is. Typically, we do know what one employee can accomplish in a given month in terms of capacity of sales. So we can kind of work back on some of those. The things I can't do is talk specific numbers outside the FTD, but we can certainly kind of build.
Wait, Mr. Political Correct. Wait a second. Now, because you're throwing out jargon, you're saying FDD, you're saying I can't make a guarantee. What's the FDD and why can't you make a guarantee? It sounds like political spin to me.
Sure. So the franchise disclosure document, every franchise in the country has to have them. They're audited by the states and approved by the states for that individual franchise, and it shows numbers and it shows the investment level. It's basically everything laid out in that. Ours is like 225 pages. Financial performance. It has things in there. The investment, what comes with your investment, rules and regulations. It lays out everything there, so you have a realistic approach to looking at the business, and it goes over everything. So the FDD, we are regulated, so we can't talk numbers outside the FDD. Because those are not audited by the state.
When you say you can't make statements outside of the FDD, I think Josh might want to know. I think a lot of listeners want to know who haven't obsessed about franchising disclosure documents like I have. And Josh, you can one-up me here. But what kinds of things can you disclose? I mean, can you go, well, technically, I can say our name is OxyFresh.
Sure.
I mean, what can you say or what can you not say?
Yeah, we can talk about the business itself. Right, we can talk about our marketing programs that we utilize. What I can't do is give you projections. Like I can't say you are going to make this amount of money because there's too many variables there. So projections, they do not allow us to tell you projections. We can talk the numbers in the franchise agreement. For instance, like I can tell you that our average ticket residentially is going to be somewhere between 165 and 185. That's an audited number, right? Per job. So then we can work off something like that. We know that, for the average employee with OxyFresh working a full schedule, they can do around, $13,000 to $15,000 a month in sales if they're at a full schedule. But there's factors in there, right? So if that person works 5 days a week, but they only work 12 to 5, they're not going to be able to reach that number. So we just kind of work through the program, see how you're going to run the business. If someone's going to run it semi-absentee, we need to actually dive into that. How much time are you going to do it? Are you going to be doing the jobs? You're going to have an employee doing the jobs, right? So there's all sorts of different scenarios we want to talk through to basically build a case whether the business would be a good fit for somebody or not, and not one person's going to be the same.
Paint him into a corner. Make him just Josh, go for it.
Awesome. Hey, Matt, so the question I would have, because I've honestly never read a FDD in my life. So
I
can you
send
just
you one if you want to?
I think I would rather read a different book, but to appease you, send it to me and I'll highlight and take a bunch of notes. So can you discuss historical data then? In that you're saying obviously you have a bunch of rules and regulations you have to adhere to, but can you tell me this location historically has done this? If somebody's wanting to really dive into it and kind of get a good grasp, can you just discuss historical data off of locations?
If you did a audit of your franchise disclosure document that went into every single location, then yes, you could do that. For us, we do sales, we do brackets, so we do we do high performing, mid performing, low performing, right? And so we wouldn't do the individual franchisee. We would do more of a broad scope of the franchisees in our system that get into a certain category of sales amounts.
If somebody's a low performer, do you refer to them as the anchor?
We do not, at least not legally in the FDD.
What do you refer to the high performer as?
The high performers would be people that have multiple franchise or multiple technicians in the system. They have typically multiple territories over time. So. And low performers, by the way, it just means the number. They're in the lower quartile of performance.
No, you just tell yourself that. You tell yourself that. This is what you are. You know what you are? You're pulling a kid aside, Bob, and you're going, Bobby, here's the deal. You're not going to be playing on this game and on this team. You're not going to be at the end of the bench over there, Bobby. That's a vital role. Okay, that's what we would call the Jack Haley position. Now, he was a towel waver for the Spurs. He cheered on Dennis Rodman, who encouraged the team, and that's what you're going to do. So you get on the end of that bench, and you understand that the bench would flip over, Bobby, if you weren't at the end of it, because there's other people at the other end of the bench. Bobby, there are people who could be getting splinters in their derriere if you weren't on that check-in at every moment of every game. Bobby, I want you to get back on that bench and cheer, because you, my friend, are the 12th man. That's what you just did, Matt. You're giving us political spin. You're not answering the questions. I have another question, and then Josh wants to one-up me here. So let's talk about return on investment. People ask you directly all the time, what kind of return on investment can I expect? I'm putting in $57,000 approximately into buying an OxyFresh. I've read the franchise disclosure document. I've looked at the high, the mid, the low. I've heard your political spin about kids who are bench warmers and telling them that they're not anchors. I get it, but I'm asking you, do people ever ask you about the return on investment, and what can you say or not say about that?
Yeah, the return on investment's a big question that I get. I think over the time, I feel like people's understanding of return on investment can be a lot different. Right. Some people will say, what's my return on investment? When am I going to make my money back? Some people are going to say, when am I going to reach a certain type of paying my investment back, or how am I going to make money? So we just kind of talk through that. So I don't know a lot of what that individual situation is going to be. So return on investment is very situational, right? We can talk about when you get an employee, for instance, to about half a schedule, which is 35 jobs, you should be doing somewhere between $6,000 and $7,000 in sales. Now, how you run your business will dictate what your return on investment is. At that point, you might be bringing more money in than which is going out. But if you buy a $70,000 truck,
come on now,
it costs you $1,000 a month. Oof. Then that may take you a little longer, right? So we talk a little bit about that.
So let me ask you this, Matt. So you mentioned low, mid, and high. So I just want to understand this. So you're telling me that if I spend $57,000 and I get an OxyFresh franchise, are you telling me that I can't just stay at home and play Madden? Are you telling me that I still have to get up and go to work? So are you saying that I can't just use other people's money and buy a franchise and then I'm a millionaire overnight? Are you telling me I still have to work? I just want to know if you can disclose that.
He's not saying that you can't just use other people's money and Tai Lopez your way to success. That's not what he's saying. Matt, is that what you're saying?
So there's low, mid, and high.
I'm telling you, you absolutely can go do that. But you probably will not be in the top portion of our performers there. But it's also to be noted, there are very good franchisees that are in that lower level. And what they are is they're owner-operators that bought that business to be an owner-operator that didn't want employees. And maybe we're not structured now to really have that as our main type of franchisee, because most people want to grow. But if you have an owner-operator business, they can only do so many jobs because they are doing them, right? If you get to the full capacity of one person, that's what you bought the business for, I would say you're successful because you did what you wanted to do. But in the grand scheme of OxyFresh, we can get a lot more out of an individual territory than just an owner-operator. So we'll, again, talking through the situation of that individual, what they're trying to accomplish, then we can kind of work our way back and figure out what's going to be the best situation for that individual franchisee. Sitting on the couch and playing Madden, probably not the best, but it doesn't mean you have to throw your Xbox away.
So was that a real political way of saying, yes, I would have to work to be successful?
Yes.
I feel like what Matt I want to make sure that Matt understands what America thinks he just said. And by the way, one of Matt's franchisee leads, his newest lead, we can't confirm or deny it. Well, we think the lead is by the name of Clinton.
Some people have said.
And Matt's been spending a lot of time with him. So now when you ask Matt direct questions, this is the motivational tape series that Matt, did you get this tape series from Clinton? Was it like because you have Zig Ziglar, you have a lot of Zig Ziglar. There might be Napoleon Hill. There could be Dale Carnegie. Did you order the whole box set of the Clinton motivational tape sales tapes? Are you listening to those right now currently, or is that just hyperbole?
I've never stopped listening to them.
Well, let me cue up just a little audio. I'm able to tap into your earbuds using some Bluetooth technology. Let me cue in here real quick here. A lot of people in your office today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
This is Matt's motivational audio today. There we go.
Thank you. for the community learning centers. I'm very proud of what we've done there. Now, I have to go back to work on my State of the Union speech. And I worked on it till pretty late last night.
So you're not going to tell us when we're going to make our return on investment?
But I want to say one thing to the American people.
So you're not going to tell us when we're going to make a return on investment?
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody it's a lie. No.
Okay, I just was curious if that was the. I think it's a different audio. I think it's a different audio series that I've been. I think it's a different one. You're listening to a different one, but wow, I mean that you've really learned. You're like the human dodgeball of questions on today's show. You know what I mean? It's like, but seriously, if you're out there. If you're wanting to buy a franchise, I'm being serious though. When you look into buying any kind of franchise at all, they can only state what's in the franchise disclosure document, which is why a discovery day is so important. Get to Colorado, go to Denver, see the system, see the processes, hop on the phone call, and you allow potential franchisees to call current franchisees, right?
Yeah, that's a good lead, and that's what I was going to talk about next was you want to look at the FDD, you want to get all the information, you want to go through the validation process, and you want to talk to franchisees that are like-minded, maybe regional, or that are going to run the business the same way that you are, and talk to several of them. Get a really good gauge on what maybe they struggled with in the beginning, and that could be different than the other franchisees you speak to. So, yes, that validation process is very important. It happens almost every time. And you want to use that in tandem with all the other things that we're going to go through.
And let me tell you how that call is going to sound. Boop, 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 boop. This is Matt's mom. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm looking for that reference. I'm trying to reach someone about a franchise and to see if you would actually buy one. Yeah, let me get somebody else. This is not Matt's mom. What? No, but they're real people, right? You can't make the numbers up, right?
No, and the franchisees, in the back of every FDD lists all the franchisees.
Okay, so you disclose all that. Yep. Okay, I just make sure because a lot of people are worried that they're going to call and you'll give them your own phone number. Yeah, just call my phone number. I share it with several franchisees. This is not Matt. No. So you actually give out real franchisees' phone numbers.
Yep, real franchisees. Okay. I mean, because we can't give projections, it's another way to basically build the case and have other conversations. It'll also, for us at least, show you the different varieties of ownership, potentially. So, you just want to do your due diligence with whatever you're looking to do, and we'll kind of go down that road together if it's OxyFresh.
I've got this is a witness. This is like an audio of a potential franchisee calling a OxyFresh franchisee. The name was redacted, so Matt just took a Sharpie, marked off the name, and said, "Go ahead and call. This is a viable resource." Let me cue it up. Here. This is
some of these cases really need to be looked at.
I'm going. Wow. Well, I'm in. Let me cue it up again. This is the audio of a Matt. Matt said, "Call this person, bona fide, verify we're the real deal. Call this number, and this is what you're going to get."
Some of these cases really need to be looked at.
And it doesn't matter what you ask. That's what you're going to get.
It's just the same answer every time.
I'm interested in learning about the profitability of your location. Tell me its specifics, please.
Some of these cases really need to be looked at.
Okay, thank you. So anyway, but in all sincerity, you will talk to a real franchisee. Matt Klein, I appreciate you so much. If you're out there looking to buy an OxyFresh franchisee, looking to invest in an OxyFresh franchise, or more importantly, looking to become the owner of your own business, what better way to say I love you than with a gift of an OxyFresh? So call them today or visit them online at www.oxyfresh.com. That's www.oxyfresh.com. Or you can learn more by going to thrivetimeshow.com/OxyFresh. That's thrivetimeshow.com/OxyFresh. My name's Clay Clark. That's Matt Klein. And Matt, thank you for always looking fresh.
Hey. Thank you for having me.
And thanks for sharing your Clinton motivational audio series with us. I'll be listening to that later.
Of course.
All right. Take care, man. And now, without any further ado, 3, 2, 1, boom.